what you are doing to my grandchild. It's not about you, it's not about you, it's about my grandchild.
Exactly.
Are you crazy?
If she would have let him stop.
Are you crazy?
Delete them pictures off of Facebook. Take my kids off Facebook. We don't want nothing to do with you. You are not his father. Please have her sit down.
This story begins with 3 kids, 2 moms, and 1 day. The 2 sons, Victor and Maurice, share the same mom. The mom told them Victor Medley is their father. He even gave Victor Jr. the same name as him. However, when these 2 brothers connected with Victor Sr., he claimed not to know them.
Mr. Heron and Mr. Medley, you are here to prove to Mr. Medley Sr. that you are indeed his sons.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Johnson, you grew up without a father for 26 years and claimed that when you finally found the defendant, he claimed he didn't know you existed. Yes, Your Honor.
Victor Medley Sr. started by doubting the paternity of all 3 of these kids, which was too much to take for both plaintiffs, as this had affected their childhood. Which brought us to the relationship timeline. Mr. Medley told the court that after hitting it off with their mom and having a committed relationship with her, they heard rumors that she was cheating.
How difficult your life has been without having a father?
It affected me in life. Want to know why he wasn't in my life? Why would you give me your full name as Junior?
The alleged father further disclosed that when the son's mom got pregnant, he talked to his pastor and told him to marry her, so he did. However, at that time, rumors of her cheating increased. He even went to audition for a band where one of the band members claimed to have slept with his wife, not knowing she was married.
You claim you went to your pastor once you learned she was pregnant.
Yes.
And what did your pastor tell you?
Do the right thing, make her an honorable woman.
So basically, you married her even though you had doubt.
Yes.
And then,
Sadly, after the wifey passed, the defendant went full throttle with his denial. The only silver lining was the loving grandmother, who acted contrary to her son and was present for every milestone. She would tell them that it doesn't matter how their father acts because she knows they're truly her grandkids, and nothing can change that.
His mother died in 2007. He was nowhere in our lives before then. His mom came down for Christmases,
birthdays, everything.
Gave us
and she
everything.
treated us like we was her grandkids.
And
she told us no matter what your daddy say, you guys are always gonna be my grandkid. And that hurts me so much.
Miss Johnson was also in the courtroom because she believed Mr. Medley was her father. She says she grew up all her life doubting her paternity until she asked her mother who her father is, and she gave her Mr. Medley's name. So, can the DNA test resolve the problems this family is having?
Mr. Medley Sr., you are not her father. Okay. Mr. Medley, what are you feeling now?
I don't know. I thought she was my daughter.
Mr. Hill has brought Miss Harris to court because he doesn't believe he is her son, Diamond's father. He says he has petitioned the court for years and was never granted permission for a DNA test, but he has finally established reasonable doubt.
Mr. Hill, you have petitioned the court for years to get a DNA test on Miss Harris's 18-year-old son, Taman, because you've paid more than $50,000 in child support, but you're not certain he's your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
To Miss Harris, these allegations made no sense from the start because she didn't sleep with anybody else in the time that they were together. However, Mr. Hill refused to believe the lie because she confessed to sleeping with someone else when they briefly broke up once.
I've never been with anyone in the 3 years that we were together. Why would he manufacture these doubts? Because the alleged claim person that I supposed to slept with, he was my friend.
Excuse
my
me,
mother
Your Honor.
knows him and everything.
We broke up at least about 6 times.
And when the birth certificate part came, the alleged father claimed that he was too naive and signed the certificate out of best intentions and paid so much money in child support, not knowing if Damon was truly his.
I paid over $50,000 in child support, not knowing what to do, who to talk to, who to lead me and guide me in that right direction, telling me, don't sign the birth until, since you have these doubts, don't tell, you need to find out if this is really your
These
child.
doubts just came. You never had doubts.
Different
You are
occasions.
amazed, happy because this was your first
Honor,
child.
Up next, Miss Harris's mother takes the witness stand next and angrily asks Mr. Hill if he's crazy. She says it's laughable that Mr. Hill is doubting Tamit's paternity when the kid looks exactly like him. She says she knows for sure her daughter did not cheat at that time, and Tamit is surely Mr. Hill's son.
You need to be ashamed of yourself. Are you blind, Chris? Are you blind?
I'm not blind.
Do
I
you
have two
see
other
him,
kids
Chris?
that look exactly like
Do
me.
you see him, Chris?
Well, your daughter shouldn't have
Your
been
other
with somebody
children do
else
not
telling me
look
what
like
to
you.
do.
You need to have them on paternity court back in front of this judge, because he looks like you, they don't.
Tamit's grandmother testified all she wanted was for Mr. Hill to have a relationship with his son. Judge Lauren talks to Tamit next, who says he knows Mr. Hill as his father, and he has also regularly paid child support, but he has played no active role in his life, and he wishes he was more present.
What has this been like? Did you grow up with the understanding that Mr. Hill was your father, your biological father?
Yes.
Were you ever told anything different?
No,
Your whole life?
whole life. I known this my father my whole life. I never knew anything about no DNA tests, nothing else.
And did you have a relationship with your father?
Not that I remember.
Tamit told the court that Mr. Harris used to send him angry messages about the money, demanding a DNA test every once in a while. Mr. Hill also says if Tamit is proven to not be his, he will fight to take back his child support payments in court. So, could the DNA test resolve this family's dilemma?
Mr. Hill, you are his father.
Can I say something, Your Honor? Can I say
I
something?
think
Your
you
Honor?
owe my son an apology.
Excuse me. That's exactly what I'm finna do. Tomorrow, I apologize for not being in your life, not doing what I needed to do.
Miss Wilson and Mr. Woody come to court to establish the paternity of their 2-month-old son, as Mr. Woody loves the kid and wants him to be his, but he has doubts, as Miss Wilson has said she also slept with someone else at the time of conception. Mr. Woody even gave the child his own name.
Now, Ms. Wilson, you confess you slept with another man at the time of conception, though you honestly can't be sure who fathered your child, hoping today's results will give you that answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Woody,
Yes.
you were at a crossroads. You've fallen in love with the baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Woody says he was excited about the baby because he already has a young daughter he really loves, but wants to have a son now too. After hearing that he could be a father again, he was ecstatic to learn that he had a son he could teach baseball and basketball to, and do father-son bonding with.
I was excited because what man doesn't want to have a junior, you know? So I got plans made, you know, I'm ready to go play baseball and basketball with them, and I'm just ready, so I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
So you're already having the visions of
They here.
everything you're gonna do, baseball, basketball, first haircut.
Everything.
Mr. Woody says he has come to really love the child and has developed an excellent relationship with him. And now he's scared that he might not be his. This comes from the fact that he and Miss Wilson were not in a relationship when they slept together. Judge Lauren remarks that it's easy to fall in love with a beautiful baby.
So you love the baby.
Yes, I thought that was it, you know? But come to find out, you know, I have my doubts about if he's mine or not.
Because you and Ms. Wilson are not in a relationship, you know that there is a strong possibility
Yes.
that this child could be someone else's.
Yes.
Miss Wilson says she and Mr. Woody met when she was walking down the street and he complimented her. She responded and they hit it off, and then they had intercourse. Judge Lauren asks her if she was sleeping with any other men at that time, and she says yes, but it was just one other guy.
When I met Mr. Woody, I was walking down the street with my friend. We were drunk and we were going up to the store. He was in an apartment complex holding, with his daughter in a stroller, and he said, "You're cute." And I was like, "Oh, you're cute too." So we walked to the store and we walked back to my friend's house. We had intercourse.
Okay.
Miss Wilson contacted Mr. Woody on Facebook because there was no other way to contact him. She says she took various home pregnancy tests and they all came back negative. She did a blood test, which soon came back positive. Miss Wilson says she was very shocked as she didn't feel ready to have a baby.
How did you find out she was pregnant?
She sent me a message on Facebook, Your Honor. I guess she couldn't find me, so she sent me a message on Facebook.
No.
How it happened?
It's not because I couldn't find her, it's because he left. Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Let's get courtroom
I apologize.
language.
Mr. Woody says his girlfriend was the one responding to Miss Wilson's texts, so he didn't even know for some time that she was pregnant. He then shows Judge Lauren some text messages from Miss Wilson, which indicate she was threatening to take him to court when breaking the pregnancy news.
Mr. Woody?
The girl that I was dating was responding to the messages that she was sending me. I have a couple of pieces of evidence and I got to.
So this is a message from Davina Wilson. I'm pregnant. So I hope you know we're getting a DNA test when the baby's born, and I'm hitting you up with this child support. I'll see you in court.
Miss Wilson says she hasn't even told the other guy about the pregnancy because she had sex with Mr. Woody first. Judge Lauren says the order of intercourse doesn't matter as long as both events occurred in the period of conception. So, can the DNA test clear up this confusion?
Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
He what?
Jerome, will you please have her sit down?
Miss Jacobs brought Mr. Walker to court because she believes he is her biological father, but feels hurt because he abandoned her immediately after her 14th birthday. Mr. Walker says he heard a very damning conversation between his wife and her family, which cast paternity doubts, due to which he left.
On her 14th birthday, Your Honor, we were outside celebrating with 4th of July. I heard an argument inside the house. So I go in to see what's going on, and my ex-wife, her mother, and her sister was in there, and she was screaming at her mother like, well, she was drinking, so she was being belligerent and stuff. She was like, well, you know there's a chance they're not his kids, and I don't know what to do.
Miss Jacobs says she had no idea all of this had happened and felt like her father had walked out on her for no reason. She says she had to be placed in foster care after her father left. Mr. Walker moved to another state, and she lost all contact with him for several years.
Miss Jacobs, did you overhear or know all of this was going on at your 14th birthday party?
No, I actually just seen him walk out of the house. He was really angry, so I didn't understand what was going on at all. So after that, we ended up being put in foster care.
Miss Jacobs says she felt really abandoned and purposefully got pregnant at 16 so she could be emancipated. Mr. Walker says he had no idea all of this was happening because he had kicked his wife out after the paternity mess came to light, and family members told him they often overheard his wife cheating in his absence.
It's obvious that you were looking for the family you didn't have.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Walker, you had no idea your daughter was going through all of this?
No, Your Honor. The foster care, she went to foster care because I had a job when I threw her mother out because of all that coming out at her birthday party.
Miss Jacobs says she learned the truth when she was about to give birth to her daughter at the age of 17. She wanted her father there, but her mother told her there was no need for it, as he probably isn't even her biological father. Miss Jacobs says she also saw her mother cheating when she was young.
Had you heard rumors about her cheating?
I seen it myself.
As a young child?
I was 5 years old.
What
Yeah.
did you see exactly?
My dad was at work, my mom was home, and a family member of mine came over to the house. They ended up taking a shower together.
Miss Jacobs says she remembers the incident vividly because the person she cheated with was her father's relative. She relayed whatever she had seen to her father, who confronted his wife about it. She denied everything by saying Miss Jacobs was making up stories. Mr. Walker said a young kid is incapable of doing that.
He confronted her. She told him that I was lying, I was making up stories. And my dad looked at her and was like, I don't understand how you think a 5-year-old has the time to sit around and make up stories about adult content.
Mr. Walker says that when he took his wife to court for the divorce, all he asked for was the kids. His wife wanted the property and the house. He says he fought for the kids for years and had paperwork to back that up, but the court always favored his ex-wife because she accused Mr. Walker of being a drug addict.
When I took her to court, Your Honor, the only thing she wanted in the divorce was the property and the contents of the house. And I said, give me my kids, you can have everything, anything you want. I brought the divorce papers with me to back that up as evidence. I've done nothing but fight for these kids, Your Honor. I love my children. My children are my world.
He said he showed all this paperwork to his daughter when they reunited. Miss Jacobs says she feels terrible because she said many hurtful things to her father when they first met again due to her mother's brainwashing. So, will the DNA results give this father-daughter duo their happy ending?
Mr. Walker, you are Aisha's father.
I love you.
hope that now that you have the truth.
Mr. McGreer's summer affair 2 decades ago led to the birth of defendant Amy Wade. He's here to assert his biological fatherhood, while Amy suspects another man. She says that she does not want him to be her father.
You know, I'm doing this because I love her, and I really want her to know. I really apologize for the times that I wasn't there and couldn't be the dad that I really want to be.
I don't believe that you're my father. I don't want you to be my father.
You don't want him to be your father?
No, he just was never there as a father. He popped in and out of my life.
Miss Wade's recount of Mr. Greer's presence in her life is a patchwork of scarce moments. Their first meeting when she was 5, a trip to New York, then years of absence until she was 11 or 12. The pain of his absence is palpable.
If you did, you would have made an effort to be there no matter what.
But I did make efforts to be there with you.
But you bounced in and out of my life.
But when I could, I did.
It does not
And I
matter.
did.
You should have been
And
the
at
father.
the end of the day,
you should have been a father.
I'm still your dad.
No, you're not.
I'm done.
It's my decision.
But at the end of the day, we could change this.
Intriguing revelations unfold as Miss Wade recounts her past with Mr. McGreer. A brief summer affair led to her pregnancy, and she believed him to be her daughter's father. However, her narrative takes an unexpected turn with the mention of another gentleman. A one-night stand? The audience is on the edge of their seats.
It was a summer affair. We were together for a couple of months. I started dating another guy, and I didn't find out until I was approximately 3.5 months pregnant.
Did you know for certain if Mr. McGreer was the biological father?
I don't think it could be the gentleman because I don't believe in one-night stands. We only had one occurrence.
Mr. McGreer faces the question of doubt about his biological connection to Amy. His resolute response paints a picture of trust and commitment. The tension escalates as he shares his reasons for distancing himself, sparking an empathetic response from Judge Lake. The painful impact of broken promises and unfulfilled commitments adds depth to the narrative.
When she's with one person, she's with one person. But really have a woman in your life that really cared for you, I didn't want to mess that up with her. You know, even though I had a relationship with her, but I couldn't have been the man because my lifestyle wouldn't allow me to be the man that I needed to be, or a father as a family.
Amy's tearful confession exposes the pain of her father's absence, amplified by unmet childhood desires like a $10 book. Judge Lake uncovers her feelings of neglect, unveiling a complex relationship as she voices her longing to be a priority. This emotional exchange captures their bond's intricate layers.
You're not so bad of a person. Like, you could have done it.
You feel like he never made you a priority.
Right.
And he didn't follow through on his promises to you.
Right. And it's like, now you want to spend time with your other kids, but you didn't make an effort with me.
As Mr. McGreer reflects on missed opportunities, he acknowledges the pain of growing up without both parents. Amy then shares an intriguing encounter with another man who claimed to be her father, offering her comfort, quality time, and experiences. This stark comparison highlights the intricate web of emotions at play in their quest for truth.
He would just come around and speak to me, give me a little change, like carry pocket full of change. He said that he could be my father, and that's when he automatically introduced me to like 6 of his other kids. And after that, I spent more time with them. He's been taking care of me ever since that age. He has been there for my prom days. He spent time with me and his other children.
This other man treated her like a daughter, spending time together and making her feel loved. Amy's older brother even stepped in to fill the father figure role. The situation brought a lot of hurt, and she wishes things could have been different. But now there's a chance for healing and moving forward once the results clear the doubt.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. McGreer, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
But like I said, the broken promises won't be broken.
In a gripping showdown, Miss Wilson says that Garrett Kelly is her daughter's dad. While Mr. Kelly's family denies it, she wants Zoe to have her rightful place, but they doubt the connection. Mr. Kelly, joined by his wife, insists his late son isn't Zoe's father. The stage is set for a tense legal battle.
Ms. Wilson, you opened your case today because you believe the deceased, Garrett Kelly, is your 4-year-old daughter Zoe's biological father. You claim Mr. Kelly's family refuses to accept your daughter until you prove to them that he is her dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. and Mrs. Kelly are grappling with their son's loss and a paternity dispute. They're unsure if their late son Garrett is Zoe's father. Mr. Kelly reveals that Garrett had doubts before he passed away. He admits Garrett said he didn't know if he was Zoe's father. This revelation has been lingering, adding to their overwhelming heartache.
I don't believe Zoe is his child because of what Garrett had said to me before he passed away, because he actually had a doubt. When he was telling me that Chris was pregnant, and I asked him, "Are you the father?" and he said he did not know.
Mr. Kelly explains that there was never a disconnection between him and Garrett, even though he had moved on to another relationship. Ms. Kelly shares their unawareness of Garrett's continued contact with Miss Wilson. Garrett was living with someone else and even engaged. Despite this, doubts remained about Zoe's paternity, leading to ongoing uncertainty.
4 or 5 years, but it was always back and forth, always back and forth. There was never a disconnection between Garrett and I at all.
But see, we didn't know that Garrett was still in touch with her. We didn't know they were still having a relationship. He had fathered another child. He was living with that person.
Mr. Kelly had only met Zoe 6 months ago and was surprised to learn that she is believed to be Garrett's daughter. Mrs. Kelly explains that a relative brought up the topic during an unrelated conversation, mentioning a picture of Zoe. They hadn't seen her picture before, and they were unaware that Miss Wilson was still pursuing paternity claims.
A relative called me about something totally unrelated, and it came up. It came up in conversation with the relative. She said, "Have you seen a picture of what's supposed to be Garrett's child?" And I said, "No, we've never even seen a picture. We have no idea what she looked like. We didn't even know that the mom was still pursuing anything."
During the time when Christina and Garrett conceived, she was technically in another relationship. She explains that there was a break in that relationship and she removed her IUD due to cramps. Although the other man had a vasectomy, she and Garrett were intimate as well. She emphasizes that she had no doubt about the paternity.
At the time that him and I conceived. But that's where nobody understands, and it just doesn't seem to, it must be a liar or something. But when I was with this other man, we had a break. I had an IUD. I always took care of myself. I took it out due to menstrual cramps. I took it out because I knew this man had a vasectomy.
Mr. and Mrs. Kelly are seeking closure from this ongoing uncertainty. With Garrett's passing 4 years ago, the constant revival of this issue keeps reopening the wounds, and they hope to finally put an end to it. So, had the results turned out in their favor?
The percentage of relatedness between Mr. Gary Kelly and 4-year-old Zoe Wilson is 99.7%. You are related.
I told you, babe.
Mr. Benning comes back to court after his partner's unfaithfulness. Doubts cloud his mind about being a dad to Robin and Jermaine Jr. Miss Bodine enters sure she has proof. It's not just science, it's feelings, secrets, and surprises. Are his doubts correct?
Mr. Benning, you recently appeared in couples court and it was confirmed that the defendant cheated on you. This infidelity has caused questions regarding your 2-year-old daughter, Robin, and 6-month-old son, Jermaine Jr.'s paternity. Although you are hopeful that both are your children.
Yes, Your Honor.
The judge asked, could the other guy be the dad? But Miss Bodine steps up, determined to do right by her child. She takes the leap, gets the test done, and it turns out he's not the father. Well, if she has already taken the test, then why is she reluctant to take another test with Mr. Benning?
How do you know this other guy is not the biological father?
Because, Your Honor, I stood up and did the woman and the mother thing I had to do and got the other guy tested.
Oh, so you had a DNA test on the other guy already?
Yes, and he wasn't the father.
And you submitted those results to the court?
Yes, I did, Your
Honor. All right.
Mr. Benning shares how doubts affect him. He told the judge how arguments bring hurtful words like, "You're not her father." Ms. Bodine defends her stance, but Mr. Benning feels stabbed. He wants to prove he's the father. At this moment, the case got overwhelming.
As well as, Your Honor, anytime that something's wrong, I'm also reminded, oh, you're not her father. As soon as we start to argue, you're not her father. But if you need something, I'm the father.
You say stuff to hurt my feelings. Why can't
I
do it
ever told
to
you that you're not the parent of your kid?
You can't. I pushed him out.
Okay.
Why are people doubting Mr. Benning as the child's father? He questions their words and wants to prove his fatherhood. Ms. Bodine is confident, but Mr. Benning doubts her. He seeks clarity for both kids. Court heads to Robin's results.
I cannot control what other people say. I know what I'm saying and I know what I proved. So you have your doubt or not. I'm here to prove today that you're the father.
Because you are just 100% certain.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Bodine says she is 100% certain. That doesn't make your doubt subside?
I don't trust anything that really comes out of his mouth.
Facing overwhelming emotions, Mr. Benning's journey takes a turn. When the court announces Robin's paternity, his world shakes. He remains strong, acknowledging his commitment to be there for her. Memories shared and bonds formed won't change. His doubts about Jermaine Jr.'s paternity bring him back. Seeking the whole truth, the court assures his clarity.
Mr. Benning, you are not the father.
What the?
Oh.
Miss Harris caught in a love triangle trying to figure out who the father is. The two men are fighting to be the kid's father, which led them in the court. Mr. Murray, who is currently in a relationship with Miss Harris, claims that he is the father. But was Miss Harris intimate with Mr. Donaldson too during this time?
When I got pregnant, he told me he had feelings for another girl. He told me that he didn't want to be with me. I was basically alone during my pregnancy. He was there during the baby shower and he came to the hospital with his mom when I had her.
So wait, you're dating Mr. Donaldson, you're in a relationship. You all are boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, we were.
Judge Lake asked Mr. Donaldson if he was at the appointments, to which he said no. But it was a relief to know that he was there during the birth of his child. It seems like he had a hard time telling his parents about him being the father of Miss Harris's child.
I did not find out about it. She was about 5 months, maybe.
You never knew your son was possibly the father of this child?
He told me about it. I accepted that he was because that's what Chastity stated, that he was the dad.
At what point did you say, Mom, I have something I have to tell you?
I told my father, and my father told her.
Mr. Donaldson messaged Mr. Murray to tell her that possibly could be the father of this baby. But Mr. Donaldson doesn't seem to remember. He told the judge that he cannot deny this, as he does not even remember it. Ms. Harris' family thought that the baby looks exactly like Mr. Murray, which may have led to a doubt.
You all ended up having a sexual encounter during that time?
Yes.
But you say you used protection. Ms. Harris, why are you so convinced that Mr. Donaldson is the father if you admittedly had sex with Mr. Murray?
Because during that time, he used protection.
Anaya's birth on October 21st sets the stage. Ms. Harris recalls her trysts with Mr. Donaldson in January and February, then pauses in March. Here's where it gets interesting. She indicates a middle of February encounter with Mr. Murray, but claims they used protection. Yet Mr. Murray remembers an unprotected escapade on December 14th. The plot thickens.
When were you intimate with Mr. Murray?
It was like in the middle of February, but he used protection.
So you were intimate with Mr. Murray around this time, but you say you used protection. But Mr. Murray, you say you did not use protection.
We had a situation December 14th.
Harris consulted with Miss Weaver, claiming Mr. Murray wasn't the father. Why? She based this on the doctor's conception date. But let's not forget, protection isn't foolproof. Despite this, Miss Harris firmly believed Mr. Donaldson was the dad, while bonding Anaya with Mr. Murray, who's been around since she was just 3 months old.
That was because of the date of conception that the doctor told her.
So you were basing that off what the doctor told you?
Yes.
But now you all know that even with protection, we know that it's not 100% certain, but you just felt like, based upon your experience, Mr. Donaldson, I really believe you're the father. And you told Mr. Murray you're not.
Yes.
As Anaya's birth came around, Mr. Donaldson's tune changed, seeking a family with Miss Harris. She was already with Mr. Murray by then, though. Anaya's appearance also added to the complexity. Miss Weaver, Mr. Donaldson's mom, found a striking resemblance between Anaya and her son. A side-by-side picture of Anaya and Mr. Murray's baby photo added another intriguing layer.
You believe Anaya looks like your grandchild, like your son's baby.
Right.
And that's a picture of Mr. Murray on the left and Anaya on the right. Why are you smiling like that, Mr. Donaldson?
Because that's a real, they do look alike. Like that, you can't even lie. They look alike.
Miss Weaver told the judge that she has developed connection with the baby. She said that Anaya is her grandbaby and she is Anaya's meemaw. If it turns out that Anaya is not Mr. Donaldson's daughter, this may break Miss Weaver's heart, as it will be too overwhelming for her. So, what did the DNA result prove?
Mr. Gerald Donaldson, you are not the father. Mr. Murray, you are not the father.
I can't sit here no more.
All right, folks, you wouldn't believe the latest scoop. Kaylee Woodbury, our beloved reality TV star, is on a mission to win the Ultimate Paternity Award. Yep, that's right. She was out to prove her fiance, not some mystery man, that he deserves the proud papa title to her kiddo. A good tabloid. Do eat your heart out.
I mean, I know 110% that Daquan is the father of my child. I don't sleep with no one. I don't look at nobody. I don't have feelings for no one else but this man. There's always gonna be people in his ear no matter where we go, just because I do have that reality star TV persona. And it could be not even denying our son or anything.
Oh, classic superstar dilemma, right? Rumors raining like confetti on their parade. Mr. Cage, the midget winner, had a real heart-to-heart with the court. He achieved a world record for coziness at the speed of light.
Did you use protection?
No.
Oh, y'all are doing the most. So we start off irresponsible.
Yeah, yes.
Have you decided your boyfriend and girlfriend now? I mean, what is
Not right
this?
away. No, not right away.
We were still just like hanging out. I mean, like, people were always telling me, they were just like, even some of her co-stars, they were just like, hey, listen, don't trust Kaylee. She's out there.
If you think that all of that too, FYI, Mr. Cage, the Sherlock of Celebville, had cracked the superstar code. Not only that, he's got a crystal ball for her playbook. How about we hit the warp speed button and zoom right into the baby bump part? Yeah, you knew we were headed to this.
I told her she was lying. I was like, you're lying. She was like, no, I'm not. I'll go get another one. And I was like, go get another one. She got another one. It was positive. And I mean, like, I was happy but scared at the same time.
When does the doubt just set in and you go?
Well, the doubt started kicking in.
3 months.
Yeah, around 3 months.
The baby daddy wasn't feeling comfy with the plaintiff hanging around with this other guy. And, you know, the whole scene just screamed doubt. It's like a puzzle piece that fits, right? Defendant had a big question mark hovering over his head.
You were saying all the right things, but you were feeling something different.
Of course. I'm just.
You really weren't living your best life. You was living your best lie.
Yeah.
Right? And Miss Woodbury, what it seems like to me is this public persona was affecting your relationship.
Very much so. And then especially when it's my child, like our child.
Buckle up for the show. Doubt's in the driver's seat, and guess who's riding shotgun? Judge Jake. It's like she's got a PhD in raising eyebrows. This TV star's in for a lesson, folks. Time to take notes.
When you start singing a song about, and see, says he's got dimples and he's got dimples. He's got an eye and he's got an eye. Right? He likes eggs and he likes eggs. Like that, when that song starts to play, what it tells me is there is doubt.
Now, here's a twist that even roller coasters envy. Not so famous boyfriend at some point had a who's your daddy moment, claiming the mini-human resembles the other dude. The baby mama turned into a professional denier, shutting that theory like a boss.
I feel like there's certain features.
Where?
I feel like
Where?
features.
He looks, okay, one, he's so much darker than you. And
It don't matter. You're.
No.
Like.
Just no. He looks.
I don't have to say it.
110% nothing like the other man. The other man looks nothing like him.
Well, after enough, she said, our court, Queen Judge Lake, steps in for the big revelation because the anticipation was killing them. The DNA showdown went on with the closure sticker, or something like this.
You are the father. Thank you. You can see how relieved you are.
Yeah.
How does it feel to just finally know?
I can marry her and finish where we left off, because that was my goal when I met her.
You won't believe it. Could a newspaper article play matchmaker? Our gutsy gal, Miss Garner, reads it and wonders, could this be Dad? And now she headed to court, all fired up to prove her lifelong question. isn't just a question anymore, at the expense of her sister's disbelief.
I believe that my sister is defaming my mother's name by making accusations that Mr. Smith is her father. All of our life, we have believed that this man right here, Lucius Kirkland, is the man that is Carmen's father. This is the man that my mother has said to be her father, and this is the man that I believe is her father.
However, folks, Miss Spencer was in the ring, and the mama bear protect her here, not letting any disgrace past her watchful eye. But wait for it, Miss Garner's playing the accusations card, like a courtroom magician told that back in 7th grade, a random lady approached her saying, "Hey, I'm your aunt." Seriously?
She heard about that in the 7th grade? That would have made you how old, Carmen?
About 12 or 13.
And when did he come to you?
When I was 37 years old.
That means he thought about it when she was 12 or 13 too, Your Honor. That's when he should have stood up.
So, Ms. Garner, your mother told you when you approached her and said someone had said this to you, she said they're lying.
She said they're lying, they made it up.
Can you believe it, peeps? Miss Spencer's maybe dad pops up thanks to a newspaper article. It's like something out of a crazy storybook. And hold on to your seats, because Mr. Smith's stepping in to spill the beans.
It was in the paper, in the Canton paper. I got a call from my oldest daughter that Carmen is your daughter. I've started reading the paper, and then what happened was, then I started to try to communicate with her, with Carmen. This is 20 years later.
She saw the article and called you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, brace yourselves for some hot twists and turns. Miss Spencer's not taking this mind-boggler lying down. She's got her detective cap on, wondering why the potential dad's been MIA until now, despite being practically neighbors.
When you were with Ms. Garner's mother and Ms. Spencer's mother, did you remember her also being in a relationship with someone else? Lucius, anybody? Do you remember that?
Well, we dated for about a year.
Okay.
But at that particular time, Your Honor, I did not.
Okay.
If he dealt with her for a whole year, he had to have known something.
It's like a puzzle missing a key piece. Miss Spencer was in the mood for Concern Express. But oh snap, here comes Miss Garner ready to sprinkle some more facts into this paternity potion, making everything even more confusing for the courtroom. Here, listen to what she has to say.
I believe my mother was 20 years old, and if I can remember doing things when I was 20 years old, it could be very much so possible. For me to stand here and say, no, it never happened, and I know it didn't happen. Kathy was 8 years old when Mom died. I was 17, I'm the oldest. And she sits down and she acts like mother sat around like at a fire camp and told them all they business.
Ah, the classic sister showdown. Judge Lake, our peacemaker, waved the white flag of wisdom to settle this sibling scuffle. The big reveal was on the horizon, aiming to add some much-needed clarity to this family circus.
Mr. Smith, you are her father.
Glory!
Oh man, well, grab the tissues and let those tears flow, guys. It was like a soap opera with a standing ovation. Therefore, Mr. Smith, the heartwarming maestro, plays a melody of gratitude that hits Judge Lake right in the feels.
I was watching your show, and the young lady called me, and I said, I don't do that other stuff. I said, I'm watching. She said, oh, that's where you going. I said, well, let's go, but before that, I wasn't going to go on no show. But God bless you, and I really love you.
Well, thank you. This is a courtroom that takes family very serious.
How would you feel if you had a storybook romance until your child is born with a rare illness? Mrs. Whittier was facing a similar situation where her boyfriend was doing the "Is this my kid?" dance. Huh? Talk about a romance script going off-road.
Shortly before Lucas's birth, we had an argument, and that argument led to the ultimate gonna shut him up kind of moment. So I said, well, how do you know if it's even yours?
You say that in the argument?
Yes. I never doubted it was his, but I just kind of wanted to end the argument and let it be done. And I've regretted that statement ever since I made it.
Oh, let's break out this rom-com, people. Miss Whittier spills the beans as their love story was hotter than a summer beach. But hey, here comes the ominous clouds. Like an evil eye, this was the main rift that settled everything on the crash course.
There was some argument.
There were some arguments?
Yeah.
Yes, and an ex of mine decided to be disgusting and send a very vulgar message to my phone. He found it and thought that maybe there was some continuing relationship there.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved in with my ex.
Oh boy! Things took a nosedive thanks to the classic infidelity bomb. Talk about a speedy script flip, right? It's like the drama meter went from 0 to 100 in a nanosecond. Anyways, when the baby was born, the situation was something like this.
You know, look at your family. Your family doesn't have these health problems. They don't have these medical problems. And these are, you know, only inherited things. Well, that's not entirely true, you know.
Mr. Reed, you were there on the day Lucas was born as well?
Oh, yes.
You did?
He cut
I
the
held
umbilical
one
cord
leg,
and turned
folded her
into a
up,
big
my mom had the
marshmallow.
other one, and she pushed, and the baby come out. And buddy, and I instantly cried as soon as that
He
child
cried more than I did.
Wow, that was a real head scratcher, wasn't it? The baby mama was still hitched, legally speaking. So the hospital was like, sorry, Mr. Reed, no birth certificate party for you. Seriously, can things get any more tangled? Take a look at what the baby mama said next.
Lucas started getting really sick. When he was 2 weeks old, he had his first grand mal seizure. Sometime during that 3-week hospitalization, Joe's like, how does this happen? You know, nobody in my family has seizures. Nobody in my family, any of the feeding issues or the heart issues or the brain issues that Lucas does.
Oh, talk about a plot twist. The baby's health hiccup cranked up the spice, pushing those doubts into overdrive. Although Mr. Reed was involved with the baby's mother, it's like sometimes you plan and the universe plans. Here is what he adds to this testimony.
Mr. Reed, you submitted a graph to the court, and you're saying on your side of the family, your grandmother, grandfather, on both sides, maternal and paternal.
No, I had
your mother and father.
Yeah, nobody has albinism. I've never heard of anybody.
No one.
Nobody.
There's no one with an actual diagnosis, but there's several people who show similar symptoms.
Well, talk about a surprise topping. After the baby mama's confession, the spotlight turned dimmer on her. But hold on, here comes Judge Lake, calling an expert ready to drop some truth bombs of her own. It's like a courtroom with a twisty twist.
And this court wants to understand, is albinism passed genetically?
Albinism is passed genetically from the parents to the child, but depending on which gene is affected, depends on whether both parents or one parent passes it.
Oh.
Normally, the albinism trait is recessive.
Just stay right there, paternity enthusiasts, because we've got emotion-packed testimonies that flew left and right. Even the experts tossed in their 2 cents. But guess what? This broken duo's destiny lies in the hands of DNA results. Drum roll, please. It's time for the grand unveil.
Mr. Reed, you are the father. I can see how relieved.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking, man. This is the happiest day of my life. Aside from him being born, it's the happiest day of my life.
Oh, don't skip this one, people. For this one, we've got Mr. Gilbert with baby dreams. But wait for it, his sister swoops in, stirring the pot with accusations about him and his daddyhood. It's like a reality TV knockoff with whispers and drama in the air.
When I got pregnant, he was there, and it's like when he told his family I was pregnant, that's when they turned against me, and they had put in his mind that he's not the father of my son.
You were in a relationship?
Yes, we met in my old neighborhood. It was like love at first sight. We was friends first when we was in love. I didn't want to get pregnant, but he wanted to chat.
Our leading man raised an eyebrow at the baby mama's crew. Not his cup of tea, apparently. But just 4 months in, Mr. Gilbert was all like, "You, baby mama." Talk about speed dating for parenthood, right? Just look how cozy he was before the concerns.
He wrote a love song about me.
You're a singer, Mr. Gilbert?
Yes, ma'am.
And you wrote a love song about it?
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't understand how you're doubting her.
Not down her. It's just down the situation at hand. It's like my family don't feel like he mine.
They don't know me.
My family don't feel like he mine. Maybe it's the persona she gave off, you know?
They don't know me,
She
but
give
they
me
was
different
friends. They
vibes.
was cool with me at first.
With secrets and suspense in the spotlight, Mr. Gilbert has always wished the baby to be his, as he broke down mid-trial. Here comes the sister ready to clarify her testimony. Oh, let the games begin. Listen to what she testified.
The streets talking. She was messing with other people at the time, Your Honor.
What other people? You don't even know me.
That's why I'm saying
Word.
we heard from
When and
people
where?
that she was pregnant before she started messing with my brother. And my brother,
that's
he
my
probably, if
first
he could
child,
have
my
kids,
only
he'd have
child.
6 of them. He hasn't have any, and that's why we're in denial because my brother, he's sick and he haven't conceived any kids.
Plot twist alert. Guys, Mr. Gilbert's got a past bout with scarlet fever, and the sister's concerns bringing some genuine allegations to the table. However, the plaintiff, like an immovable rock, denied every word thrown her way.
He's still there.
Take care of him. He be there for him.
But you know he has the doubt, and you say it's because of his family.
Yeah.
The truth is, if in fact he is Corey's biological father, the way you say, that's his aunt.
Right.
Miss Davis steps onto the scene, all smiles and sunshine, thinking she's got the golden ticket to love paradise. Fast forward, and suddenly the gang's united against her, and it's party time in camp. Let's gang up on Miss Davis.
He's still there.
Take care of him. He be there for him.
But you know he has the doubt, and you say it's because of his family.
Yeah.
The truth is, if in fact he is Corey's biological father, the way you say, that's his aunt.
Right.
Ladies and gents, time for a jaw dropper. Guess whose name's on that birth certificate? Yep, you got it. Mr. Gilbert's in the spotlight. He was all about baby support until dun 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 entered the family. Just listen to what happens next.
What's the nature of your relationship right now? You're working on a relationship.
Yeah, well, I heard she was pregnant right now by another man.
So, you lying.
They still together.
You lying.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on.
Oh, the sister versus baby mama clash was in full swing. They tossed words like bullets. However, Judge Lakes, hold my gavel. She steps in with the ultimate truth serum, the DNA results. Cue the mic drop on those feisty arguments.
Mr. Gilbert, you are the father.
You think this doesn't tear me apart? Do you really think it doesn't?
I know it does.
Do you think I want my daughter not to know who her father is?
No, I don't believe that.
Oh,
Okay, sit down, Mr. Brown. Your name rhymes with clown, but you're not gonna clown today. Just calm down.
Miss Johnson and Miss Davis step into chaos. They've arrived in court to unearth the truth about their biological father. Sadly, the whole court part kicked in when a person showed up claiming he was the father at their mother's funerals. Yeah, I know that's the last thing you want to hear on such occasions. Anyway, this made the family book a trip to paternity court.
The funeral, when I had walked in, this guy had walked in behind me and put his hands around me and asked me, how is my beautiful little girl doing? Well, here at this time, I had thought that the defendant, Roger Johnson, was my biological father. And at the time, I did not know who was behind me.
Miss Davis has unveiled a trail of cryptic hints and hidden truths. The courtroom resonates with intrigue as puzzle pieces from her childhood slowly click into place, suggesting a fatherly figure she never anticipated. All of this had truly taken a toll on the dynamics of the family.
My mother used to take me to places like this car lot, and this guy used to work there, and she had me up in the front of the seat with her in the car, and then she looked at the guy and told him, now me being young, I didn't really understand then, but once I got older, I started putting the puzzles together that could have possibly been one of the guys.
Mr. Johnson was the guy who had put a lot of alleged fathers to shame by stepping up to be both mom and dad. Even his own daughters testified to their father being there for them 24/7.
Oh, I understand. You're saying when you had the girls, you wanted the girls to see her so they could have a mother-daughter
Yes, Your Honor.
connection.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you would have to say to her, I'll give you money
Yes, Your Honor.
if you spend time with them.
Yes, Your Honor.
Up next, it was time to call in the firstborn son as the witness to the whole saga, while the young man was clearly shaken over the painful dilemma their family had to go through. Roger Jr.'s sisters and father are close to him, and he talks about the hurt he felt because he's not as close to his father as his sisters are. Can feel the heavy feelings in the room, reminding us that being a father isn't just about biology, but also about the feelings that make us who we are.
There's a lot of doubts. My middle sister, I can see my father.
That's Miss Johnson.
Yes, ma'am. I love her to pieces.
It's okay, sweetie. You don't see your father.
No, ma'am.
And that hurts you to have to say. I can see that. And I can imagine for all three of you, it's difficult when one family member seems to be singled out. Or
Further, Miss Davis opens up to her father about her hurtful reactions, saying that she is so sorry for what she did. Her father responds with understanding and forgiveness, saying that he will always be there for her regardless of biology. Their bond shines as he highlights his love for his grandchildren too.
I have denied him as my father. I have done a lot of hurtful things to him, and I admit I have. I'm not perfect. All I ask for is forgiveness. I don't want to do this anymore.
I forgive her, but the main important thing here is what they gotta understand. I have 7 grandchildren. 2 of my grandchildren is with her.
In the Johnson-Davis versus Johnson case, the court has reached conclusions about the paternity of Roger Johnson Jr., Elizabeth Johnson, and Melinda Davis. Will the envelope unite this family or further set it apart?
As it pertains to the paternity of Elizabeth Johnson, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are her father. As it pertains to the paternity of Melinda Davis, Mr. Johnson Sr., you are her father.
Miss Strong steps forward, bringing her claims against the defendant, Miss McClain, in a high-stakes paternity showdown. The court is a battlefield of accusations as Miss Strong alleges her husband is not the father of Miss McClain's child. With Miss McClain standing her ground, the stage is set for a riveting tale of passion, betrayal, and unexpected consequences.
Your Honor, a little over a year ago, me and Miss McClain got together. We were friends. We had discussed doing a threesome.
You and Miss McClain got together to talk about this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So we went back to our apartment and discussed it with Mr. Strong, and it happened. We had some drinks, the music was playing, had a threesome, had a good time that night.
The courtroom crackles with tension as Judge Lake grapples to unravel the complexities of this paternity dispute. With each side fiercely defending their perspective, the debate heats up, delving into genetics, race, and the intricacies of parenthood. The audience is left on the edge of their seats, eager to see how this puzzle unfolds.
What am I missing?
The other possibilities are African-American men.
But to be honest with you, a white person and a black person can still have a white baby.
But Miss McClain, you DNA tested the African-American man you were dating, and it was determined that he was not Angel's biological father, right?
Correct.
Mr. and Miss Strong describe their deep involvement in Angel's life. The courtroom's mood shifts as their dedication to her become evident, from buying essentials within hours to being called sister by her siblings.
The day they brought the kid to my work and we started hanging out, I did go out and buy a bassinet and some other baby stuff. Like she has clothes, food, toys, pretty much anything you could think of. I mean, I got it all within like 48 hours.
And you spend time with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Readily and frequently?
Whenever she brings her by,
When I get a chance to bring her by when I'm not going to the doctors myself.
Or she calls me and says, hey, come pick us up.
A tense moment arrives as Miss McClain's desires become clear. The revelation of whether Mr. Strong is Angel's father carries profound implications, potentially shaping her life's narrative. The audience eagerly anticipates the outcome, questioning if a hidden twist might emerge.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Strong, you are not the father. I'm sorry to have to deliver that news, Mr. and Miss Strong. It seemed like you were very happy at the thought of having Angel as your little girl.
At 14, Miss Jacobs' world turned upside down as her father vanished suddenly. Today in the courtroom, she confronts him for answers. Mr. Walker, once certain of their bond, heard a conversation on her birthday that shattered his beliefs.
On her 14th birthday, Your Honor, we were outside celebrating with 4th of July. I heard an argument inside the house. So I go in to see what's going on, and my ex-wife, her mother, and her sister was in there, and she was screaming at her mother like, well, you know there's a chance they're not his kids, and I don't know how to tell him, but I had done slipped in and was standing right behind her and overheard all of it.
At just 16, Miss Jacobs penned a heartfelt letter to her father, unaware that he was questioning her paternity. She later got pregnant to be emancipated. Mr. Walker, oblivious to his daughter's struggles, recounted how her mother's shocking revelation led him to throw her out, and Miss Jacobs ended up in foster care.
It was really hard. I actually ended up getting pregnant when I was 16 just to be emancipated.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you got pregnant on purpose?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's obvious that you were looking for the family you didn't have.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Walker, you had no idea your daughter was going through all of this?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Jacobs had witnessed his mother's infidelity firsthand. She recounted how a family member visited, took a shower with her mother, and then retired to the bedroom. Young and innocent, she approached his mother for food, only to be dismissed. She shared the incident with her father upon his return from work, but her mother caused chaos.
What did you see exactly?
My dad was at work, my mom was home, and a family member of mine came over to the house. They ended up taking a shower together. I went into the bathroom, I was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" She goes, "I'm just getting a shower, go away."
Standing before the court, Mr. Walker expressed the possibility that some of the men discussed could be Miss Jacobs' father. His suspicions were fueled by his ex-wife's later admission of intimate involvement with multiple family members. In the midst of their divorce, he offered his ex-wife everything in exchange for custody of their children, emphasizing his unyielding love for them.
The only thing she wanted in the divorce was the property and the contents of the house. And I said, "Give me my kids, you can have everything, anything you want." I brought the divorce papers with me to back that up as evidence.
Jerome, will you please hand that to me?
I've done nothing but fight for these kids, Your Honor. I love my children. My children are my world.
In the midst of all these events, Miss Jacobs remained unaware of the truth. She revealed that her mother consistently portrayed her father as someone who abandoned her and wanted nothing to do with her. However, Mr. Walker staunchly opposed these claims, providing stacks of paperwork as evidence to support his side of the story.
Hearing his testimony, how does that make you feel?
When I actually just got back in contact with my father after 5 years just a month ago. So he did show me all the paperwork and everything like that. I felt horrible, I really did, because I told him I wanted nothing to do with him. I felt like I didn't deserve to be around my dad at that point in time.
Medical professionals believed he would never have grandchildren. Despite this, he embraced fatherhood with enthusiasm when he found out he was going to be a dad. With tears and a heartfelt embrace, the emotional moment unfolded in the courtroom as the truth was revealed.
When it comes to the paternity of Miss Aisha Jacobs, Mr. Walker, you are Aisha's father.
Hold on to your seats as chaos erupts in the courtroom. Miss Nesbitt is determined to prove Mr. Henderson is the father of her daughter, while he confidently insists she cheated with a neighbor. Emotions run high as shocking revelations take center stage, challenging the simple narrative.
I shouldn't have to take care of another man's baby.
But you are taking care of another man's baby, right?
Yes, but at this time, I came into this baby's life and already knew he wasn't mine, but I had a possibility that she could have been mine, but she's not, so I felt kind of hurt. So
there's a level of resentment there.
Yes, ma'am.
Tensions escalate in this courtroom drama as Miss Nesbitt and Mr. Henderson's rocky relationship takes center stage. Miss Nesbitt reveals an unexpected twist involving a neighbor, leaving Mr. Henderson grappling with the shocking revelation. The truth unravels as emotions surge and the tangled web of events becomes more complex.
Do you remember this day, Mr. Henderson, when she told you she was pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she also say I had slept with Mr. Brown?
Yes, Your Honor.
When she told you she'd also slept with Mr. Brown, but it was just one night?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you say to yourself, well, I know now this could possibly be his child, or you tried to just, you were living in denial?
I was living in denial, Your Honor.
Both Mr. Henderson and Mr. Brown, the neighbor, step into the spotlight, vying for their claim as the father. What a chaos! Mr. Brown confidently asserts that the child's resemblance to him is undeniable. As the tension mounts, unexpected twists further complicate the situation.
This is a picture of
me on the right and her on the left. Yeah, it is. She look nothing like me at all. Ear, look at her cheeks, nothing. Lips, nose.
She doesn't look anything like you, in your opinion?
Nothing like me. One day she had told me she didn't want to take the first. She used to always ask me like, "Do you mind taking a test?" I'm like, "Yeah." Then one day she called, texted me like, "You don't need to take no test because I know it's his baby."
No. As tensions skyrocket, Mr. Brown takes center stage, determined to clear the air. He expresses his doubts about being the father and his desire to move past the chaos. A surprising twist reveals an ongoing Facebook feud between the potential fathers, highlighting the complex emotions and uncertainty in this explosive paternity battle.
Now you're having a Facebook feud?
No, it wasn't no Facebook feud. I just told him like, bro, come get your child, you feel me? This is not my child. She's telling me that this child is not mine. I'm not about to sit there. I'm a real man.
Well,
I'm not gonna have her calling me daddy or nothing. Like, hold on, I'm not your father.
I just don't want my daughter to be
father.
fatherless, and I just want to find out today who my baby father is.
In a gripping moment of truth, the court unveils the DNA results, determining the biological father of Miss Nesbitt's daughter. The anticipation builds as Mr. Brown's hopes hang in the balance, and Mr. Henderson's fate remains uncertain. The courtroom atmosphere crackles with tension as the audience holds their breath for the final revelation.
Mr. Henderson, you are her father.
Told you was her father from the beginning.
Are you happy?
Yes, I mean, I love to be her father, but if she can't change, I'ma leave. I'ma still do for my daughter because I'm not that guy. This will be my only child.
You all now have a child together.
In a paternity court showdown, Miss Streeter reveals a hidden affair with Mr. Hartfield, who denies fathering her child. In the chaotic moment, the accusations of infidelity and marriage come to light. The fate of their relationships hangs on the edge of DNA results, promising shocking revelations.
Mr. Hartfield asked me to have a baby with him. We were dating for about 8 months, a long time. We were in a relationship, a committed relationship with just me and him. And throughout the whole relationship, he wanted to have a baby. He said he didn't get to raise any of his.
Mr. Hartfield says that he admits to sending explicit texts, revealing a controversial game he and Miss Streeter played. As laughter fills the room, their unconventional dynamics take center stage. But Judge Lake is determined to get to the bottom of their puzzling relationship, demanding answers that uncover deeper secrets.
This is a text that says no, and then I'm horny, and then come over, and the next line says I'm serious, I am horny as hell.
Let me explain to you why. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play. If I don't do that, Dominique goes ballistic.
Ms. Hartfield, the wife, joins the conversation. Her frustration and pain are palpable as she confronts her husband's infidelity head-on. As the truth comes out, emotions escalate, and even Judge Lake expresses disbelief at the situation. The focus shifts to the betrayed wife's heart-wrenching experience, adding another layer of chaos to the already tangled web.
You get a text message.
A random text message that says, I'm in a relationship with your husband and have been for 8 months, and I'm pregnant.
What do you do from there?
And I asked him about it, and he said, oh, she's just some little girl, she ain't nobody. I didn't like texting, so I called her. And I'm like, we had a conversation to which I told her, best of luck.
Tensions soar as Mr. Hartfield drops a bombshell, alleging Miss Streeter's involvement with another man. Amid accusations and denials, emotions erupt, and chaos reigns. Judge Lake battles to restore order. The courtroom is electrified, anticipation mounts, and viewers brace for the next shocking revelation.
I don't sleep around. Like, I just don't understand why he coming up with these lies.
Your Honor,
Kiss the
that
baby.
is absolutely crazy nuts what she's saying. If I,
You wouldn't have cheated
hold
on her
on,
if it was that
no, you said because I don't want to be with you.
I have a picture
I'm
on
just
where he
saying, Your
spent
Honor,
time with
I
my
do have
baby.
options. Even my wife, I love her. God knows I do.
The court reaches a fever pitch as Mr. Hartfield's infidelity and deception are laid bare. Accusations and emotions fly, leaving the courtroom in turmoil. Judge Lake, resolute, navigates through the chaos to unravel the truth. Ms. Hartfield's heartbreak and Mr. Hartfield's defensive stance collide, culminating in a shocking confession that sends shockwaves through the room.
I knew they had a relationship, and it was, I don't want to be with her. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I want to be with you. Can we work it out?
And I can see this really upsets you.
It's foolishness, and I didn't need it, and I didn't ask for it.
I want a divorce if I can get one.
A climactic moment in the case of Streeter versus Hartfield unfolds as the court unveils the truth. Amidst the tension and charged emotions, the judge delivers a verdict that rattles the room. As the reality sinks in, Mr. Hartfield's nonchalant reaction contrasts with the gravity of the situation. The spotlight then shifts to the women, who stand united against the backdrop of Mr. Hartfield's deceitful behavior.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. I completely understand where you're coming from, but you have to understand that your actions are not breaking the cycle, it's perpetuating it.
My son's only 2, and I decided to make, well, practically a of myself when I was of that age.
2-month-old baby Lily is without a father. Miss Cantu might have done a lot of stupid things in her life that she has regrets about, but she believes that she conceived Lily the night she spent with Mr. Salinas, and it's time he stepped into his daddy's shoes.
I invited her out.
She didn't come through. Went out with some friends, had some drinks. Later that night, I hit her up asking if she wanted to hang out. So she told me to come by, and we talked, we messed around, we had sex. That was it, just a one-night stand. The next day, she woke me up, told me she had to go to class. She also told me that she was off and on with this other guy.
So it might have been a one-night stand, but it definitely had life-altering consequences for both of them. They both knew each other for a year before, and at that time, both of them loved hardcore partying. But Miss Cantu says that she changed her ways while Mr. Salinas stayed irresponsible.
And I decided to hang out with him because I hadn't seen him in such a long time. We ended up having sex. He knew about the guy that I was on and off with for about 3 years, the whole time I was in Corpus. So, you know, I was on and off with him. At that time when me and Mr. Salinas had sex, I was not in an exclusive relationship. So I did not cheat on anybody.
Miss Cantu had no intentions of getting pregnant, so the night she spent with Mr. Salinas, immediately after the deed was done, she went and took the morning after pill to stay safe. But Mr. Salinas' doubts have nothing to do with that. In fact, he thinks that she might have been sleeping unprotected with multiple people.
We just had sex, we didn't talk anymore. I understood that she was kind of on the rocks with this other guy, and I made it clear to her that I didn't want a relationship or a commitment till I was 25 or 30.
All right, so you went your separate ways?
Yes.
Until one day you're on Facebook and you see this post?
Yes.
So Mr. Salinas ended up discovering on Facebook that Miss Cantu's conception window was on September 8th. When he got to thinking, he realized that was the very day when the two of them slept together. It was shocking to him that she was 9 weeks in and hadn't bothered to inform him about it.
Why have you not tried to get to know Lily?
Well, when I saw the message, or the post on Facebook, I immediately messaged Miss Cantu, asking her if there was a possibility that I might be the father, and she said no. She said that she had taken the morning after pill, that she'd been having intimate relations with this guy before and after we had sex.
Judge Lauren asked Mr. Salinas if he's ever interacted with Lily, and he says no. Miss Cantu starts speaking up about how later on, he did find out about the baby girl's existence, and he had every opportunity to show up and try to act responsible. But all Mr. Salinas has are excuses.
He knew that there was a possibility that he could have been the parent to this child, that he didn't put money aside to, you know, possibly seek out if this is his child.
So how far away do you live?
Well, we live 3.5 hours away. So if you had a job at the beginning and you knew that, you know, eventually you're gonna have to go there, then $100 really doesn't sound like much to find out if you have a child.
Even Judge Lauren finds it hard to understand that Mr. Salinas really didn't make an effort to get to know his child. It's like he didn't want to, and he keeps saying that he wanted it confirmed before he ever stepped up to his duties. That sounds like a very lame excuse to Judge Lauren.
This is not about Mr. Salinas, this is not about my mom, this isn't even about anybody in this room except for my daughter Lily. And she deserves to know who her father is. She deserves to know who her father is, because I know if she's anything like me, in the future she's gonna wanna know. She's gonna go searching for him because she's not gonna feel complete or whole until she knows where she comes from.
Eventually, even Miss Cantu's mother is brought into court, and she narrates how she always wanted to raise her daughter right. And things might have happened this way, but it's not fair to judge them for their stupid mistakes. Will the DNA test give them what they're looking for?
In the case of Salinas versus Cantu, Mr. Salinas, you are the father.
Miss Petty might be suffering because of her stupid mistakes, but she claims that she doesn't want her daughter Aaliyah to go through the same. In the courtroom today, there will be Mr. Bale's testimony and then Mr. Daniels, and only then can Miss Petty know who's the real father of her child.
The way you gotta get it, I mean, the way you could get your kid is if you, all she want is the D, so you gotta sleep with her. You know, all you gotta do is sleep
First of
around
all,
with her.
he came to me and was like, I still love you, Ania. He don't want to step up.
But is it true that after you broke up, you had the older child, you all were still sleeping together? Because
Yes.
that's why we're here today, right?
Turns out that Miss Petty already has an older kid with Mr. Bale. And the only reason these two were messing with each other was Mr. Bale wanted complete custody of their son. So, even though these two broke up, they kept seeing each other. Make it make sense.
Who last name is on the birth certificate? Mr. Daniels, if you want to see that. If it was my baby, she would have had her with my last name like we did with our son.
I told Mr. Ball first that I was pregnant before I even told Mr. Daniel. He told me because he was in a relationship, he didn't want to ruin his happy home. He told me to keep it on the low, and he raised both of my kids.
No, I didn't say nothing
He
like
did.
that.
Miss Petty explains that Mr. Daniel was the one who asked to put his last name on her daughter's birth certificate. Mr. Daniel heard that Mr. Bale wasn't even prepared to handle the responsibility of this child, so he knew he had to step up in his place.
I completely understand where you're coming from, but you have to understand that your actions are not breaking the cycle, it's perpetuating it. Because you were also having sex with Mr. Daniel at the same time you were having sex with Mr. Ball. So if we're being completely honest in this court, which is all we're gonna be.
Judge Lauren asks Miss Petty what she wants out of this. Miss Petty starts speaking up about how she grew up without a father and wants to break the cycle. It was really unfair for Mr. Bale to abandon not just her baby, but Aaliyah as well. He even refused to play any part in the little girl's life.
I give him that reason, but for him to avoid the DNA testing make me feel like he already know and he don't want the truth.
So what you felt like is he's been avoiding taking a DNA test because in his gut he believes.
No,
Yes,
no.
he came
And
by
he's trying to
and
avoid
looked at
his
her and said, well, she do got
responsibility.
my smile.
No,
She
here we
do
go.
look like me,
Your Honor.
but she too light-skinned to be my daughter.
Judge Lauren asks Miss Petty the window of conception, and she's shocked to hear that the woman had been sleeping with both men multiple times during the day. Mr. Bale keeps arguing with the judge, but she's had enough. So she asks Jerome to escort Mr. Daniel on the court now.
You can't help but fall in love with a little baby after holding her. And also the fact that you gave her your last name.
Yes, I love kids. I'm a family person, and from my history, I've been a foster child since I was 4.
So you were breaking cycles of your own,
Yes.
and yet you still stepped in.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's commendable.
It's pretty obvious that between the two men, the most sensible one happens to be Mr. Daniel. Even Judge Lauren is impressed with him. But it boils down to what Miss Petty wants, and the judge concludes that it's possible Miss Petty isn't over Mr. Bale and still wants that despicable man in her life.
Did you find evidence that they
Yes.
were together?
I came home and I see his car outside, so I walk around to the window. I look in there, and all of a sudden, I'm looking around to see what's going on. I see her hand, he's laying down. Her hands is in his boxers.
What?
It's pretty stupid to see Miss Petty ruin her life with a man like Mr. Bale when someone like Mr. Daniel's been with her throughout everything. Baby Aaliyah deserves to grow up with a sensible father. The only way to resolve this matter is to bring out the DNA results.
Mr. Ball, you are her father.
He do not deserve to be the father, honestly.
Oh my God.
He don't.
Sentimental boy.
He hasn't bought diapers since me and Annette met, which is 2012.
I pay child support.
That has nothing to do with being a father.
Or being there.
It doesn't.
It's pretty clear that Miss Davis needs to reevaluate her life, because when she had a baby, Javon, she suspected 4 men to be the father. But today, she's hoping to find a way to make things right by proving that Mr. Smith is the only father of her child.
I had a very bad childhood. I went through 13 different foster homes. I've been to 4 different group homes, and I didn't grow up knowing who my father was until I was 18 years old. And my son's only 2. I mean, it's not his fault that I decided to make, well, practically of myself when I was of that age.
Miss Davis starts by admitting that she's made plenty of stupid mistakes in her past, but she believes that her son deserves a good life. She would do anything for her baby boy. Mr. Smith claims that he was told Javon isn't his son, so it's very strange that Miss Davis wants him to be the father now.
We met on the chat line, I hung out with him, and I spent a week with Mr. Smith. It's actually the time around that I conceived my son.
Mr. Smith, you all basically spent a solid week being intimate. Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor. It was just a fling or, a holiday fling,
It was a holiday fling.
Yes, Your Honor.
Once the fling was over, Miss Davis and Mr. Smith didn't contact each other. They went back to their lives as if nothing happened between them. After Miss Davis explains the story behind the first 3 potential fathers, she admits that she doesn't even remember the name of the fourth one.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was just randomly thinking to myself that, I haven't had my period in almost 2 months.
At that time, did you remember that you had slept with all of these men?
Yes, Your
in
Honor.
such a close proximity?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
so did you have any idea who your child's father was?
No, Your Honor.
Her ex-boyfriend ended up being upfront with her about not fathering baby Javon. So Miss Davis got potential fathers number 1 and number 3 tested, and the results for both of them came out negative. That leaves her with the guy whose name she can't remember and Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith is right there at around the conception date. So in my heart, I have a feeling that he is. I mean, I've always had the feeling. I didn't want Mr. Smith to be my son's father.
Okay, why?
Well, I mean, to be blunt, he's a mama's boy.
If I'm such a mama's boy, then why she got me here? I'm such a mother's boy.
Mr. Smith ends up speaking the truth that the reason he believes he's not the father is that Miss Davis didn't really reach out to him. Moreover, he believes that the baby doesn't look anything like him, so there's no chance it's his. But then Miss Davis mentioned something.
I felt kind of scared, Your Honor, because I felt like he didn't know me, and I felt like a total stranger, Your Honor.
If you've told me yourself, because you said you felt it in your heart that he might be yours, why didn't you step up then? Your father passed away, okay?
Because of the other guys, all them other guys you slept with, and I'm the father, I think you just leaning on me. This would be a gold digger. Give me for my money or what I got.
It's very apparent that this is an extremely sensitive issue for these two. Despite Mr. Smith's obvious reservations, he does not want to step up in case he turns out to be the father. After all, he's already missed 2 years of his baby's life. Guess it's time to declare the results and settle the matter.
Mr. Smith, you are not Javion's father.
I'm so hurt, Your Honor.
You look crushed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, I can see that in your eyes. Because even though you consistently said, I doubt it, there's a disappointment that I see in your face.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Kavanaugh seems to love paternity court because apparently this isn't her first time here. The last time she came to Judge Lauren, neither of the men she was accusing was the father of her baby. Here she is again, this time claiming that Mr. Spence, her mother's friend, is the baby's daddy.
I started calling him up asking for rides, to the grocery store, to get stuff from my house, and subconsciously I was trying to try to seduce him. I was wearing inappropriate things around him.
And why were you doing this?
Because I was wanting attention. It was just something that I did that was really stupid of me at the time.
Looks like that subconscious seduction paid off. Even Judge Lauren is shocked at this young woman's promiscuous ways around a man. But Miss Kavanaugh says that she is in a bad place. On the bright side, at least, Mr. Spence wasn't involved with her mother.
First time, I shunned it off. Second time, I said, hey, watch yourself. Third time, it's starting to look good. Fourth time, lapse in judgment, and here we are today.
So how many times were you intimate with her?
Just once.
Just one time, Ms. Kavanaugh?
Your Honor, I do not believe it to be once. It was at least twice.
Judge Lauren moves on to ask Miss Kavanaugh if she had ever suspected Mr. Spence to be baby Malcolm's father when she first saw the positive pregnancy test. Last time, when the DNA test came out negative, Miss Kavanaugh thought that perhaps the answer lies in some other man's DNA.
He could be a possibility that Mr. Spence is the father. I texted him and I asked him, when was the last time we had sex? He told me it was the end of October.
And when was Malcolm born?
He was born July 9th.
So when you do the math on that, that's about the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course, none of this can go forward without bringing Miss Kavanaugh's mother, Miss Kavanaugh's side of the story. How did she react to finding out that her daughter might be betting one of her really close friends?
Actually, when we were together, all in the same room, I noticed them looking at each other a little differently. So I questioned each of them. They each denied that anything had happened. She blurted out that you were right, and I did sleep with Ken. He told me the same story that he told you today, Your Honor, that she was coming on to him.
But things really start taking an interesting turn when Judge Lauren begins asking questions about Mr. Spence and his intentions regarding baby Malcolm. After all, will he really step up as a father if the DNA results come out in his favor? Before that, he's got some interesting secrets to reveal.
Window of conception that she described. Do you have any knowledge as to whether or not she was sleeping with other people during that time?
Yes, she told me.
Oh, so she told you?
Yes.
What did she say?
Sleeping with other people. I got a boyfriend.
Oh.
Which was Mr. Bowles at the time, Your Honor.
Understood.
Yeah.
But we also know that there was Mr. Scott, too.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, it's true that there's no shortage of men in Miss Kavanaugh's life. A Mr. Scott is called into court, who Miss Kavanaugh believes could also be another potential father, because she had unprotected intercourse with him once when the two got very drunk.
I use protection every time. I don't recall, not using protection.
So you don't recall. Now she says there was an instance when you did not, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you say there was no instance?
No, ma'am. I strongly, I don't believe that, Malcolm is mine.
You don't?
I don't.
Have you seen a picture of him?
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Kavanaugh ends up admitting that she has been trying to drink her problems away. And because of that, she suspects there could be a third man who she slept with during the window of conception. Poor baby Malcolm, already confused about which of these 5 men is his daddy. Time for Jerome to bring in the results.
Mr. Scott, you are not his father. Mr. Spence, you are not his father.
It's okay.
Get ready to witness a brutal fight on paternity court. Miss Thomas and Mr. McKee's online romance turned fiery as it spilled into the real world, but her world shattered when he denied her pregnancy. Now, the defendant boldly claims he can't be the father. Find out the shocking revelations that unfold in this gripping courtroom drama.
First of all, we met on a dating website, as you spoke. We started off talking, and then once we started knowing each other, who we were.
How long did you talk on the phone?
Maybe about a month or 2.
Okay.
And then I started going to see him, maybe like a 45-minute drive from where I live, like every other day. So I'm assuming I'm spending the night, staying the night with him, things like that.
Judge Lake probes the potential father's thoughts upon receiving the pictures, revealing his shocking disbelief. He confesses, "This is not my baby." The courtroom gasps as he admits, "Damn, this baby makes number 8." But the mystery deepens as Judge Lake questions if those are his children. The defendant makes a surprising comparison, saying the baby looks like Donald Trump.
When you got the pictures, what were you thinking?
Like, this not my baby, Your Honor. I'm like, damn, this baby make number 8 right here.
Number 8 for who? You or her?
For me.
For her.
I have 8. That'd be number 8.
I'm kind of confused.
Whoa. So did you know she had children when you were dating her?
Yeah, he knew I had kids.
Mr. Few Words drops a bombshell, revealing their whirlwind romance from April 1st to April 20th. Doubts arise as Judge Lake questions if Miss Thomas's quick intimacy led to suspicions of infidelity. Their protection-free encounters stir controversy as Mr. McKee feared other partners. Miss Thomas, a mother of 8, emphasizes her fertility, leaving everyone stunned.
She had sex with you so quickly that you felt like, well, maybe this is the type of person or type of woman who's also having sex with other people.
But when we first started off, we was using protection, and he knew that, and he was like, he wanted to without it. I was like, no, I'm fertile. I just had a baby a year or 2 ago.
Doubt lingers as the baby daddy's family questions the resemblance of the baby. It's revealed he's been searching for answers for 8 long months. Judge Lake takes charge, asking difficult questions to uncover the truth. The plaintiff denies any involvement with other men during conception. Brace yourself for the brutal fight as the truth unfolds in this high-stakes paternity battle.
I need to ask you, were you with any other men during the time Carson was conceived?
No, ma'am.
So do you have any other kids, Mr. McKee?
I have a daughter.
And so this would be your first son?
I have 2 more on the way.
You have 2 more kids on the way right now?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
The alleged reveals he's expecting children with 2 different women who happen to be sisters. The shock spreads through the room, with the women reacting in disbelief. The tension heightens as Mr. McKee admits he might end up back in court in the next 120 days. Judge Lake issues a stern warning, urging him to change his ways.
Mr. McKee, you are not the father.
Are you serious?
He is not the father, Miss Thomas.
I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm sorry.
Do you know who Carson's father is?
Yes.
Lily has 2 beautiful children, Richard and Renee, But it turns out there's been a lot of trouble figuring out the paternity of these little boys. According to her, the father's Richard. But wait, Richard has a completely different story to share. He says that you can't trust a word out of Lily's mouth. Wonder why.
She was trying to get all over me or whatever from the beginning, but I ignored her.
Were you interested in having a relationship with them at that point?
Relations, but not a relationship.
It started getting serious. I mean, well, I felt like it was, and I don't know, I wanted to be with her. All of a sudden, I find out she's doing other things with my friends and stuff.
It was a one-time thing. Me and his friend had messed around.
Oh, damn! Lily did the worst possible thing anyone could do to their boyfriend. She went ahead and messed around with one of Richard's friends. Come on! Why would you cheat on your partner with one of his friends? That's the lowest you can go. She even admits to the court, and the entire court just descends into complete silence.
The next day, I talked to her. She's like, okay, yeah, I did have intercourse with this man. I forgave her. And a few weeks later, she finds out she's pregnant.
Yes,
Were you intimate with another man?
Yes, I did have intercourse with him 3 times, unprotected, that night. I told him about it. He still wanted to be with me.
She lied about it.
I did tell him that we did it
protected.
protected. I did at the time.
While Lily was going behind Richard's back, she was also being intimate with him at home. She keeps saying that she was forced into a relationship with Richard, and that even though she liked him, she didn't want to be with him. Well, she could have told him that. And if you don't want to be in a relationship, why would you go have intercourse with him? That doesn't sound right at all.
Maybe this could be all.
I stayed up all night looking at it, and it just added up to where it was gonna be exactly to around that time with that other man.
That really messed with your mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she ever tell you that Richard was not your son?
She just told me, she said, Richard's not yours. And I said, what? And then she was like, yeah, he's not yours.
Lily says that it's always been back and forth with Richard. One day, he says he wants them all to be a big happy family, and that it's his dream to stay with them. Then the next day, he suddenly changed his mind. But according to Richard, that's not true. If you look at things from his perspective, Lily's broken his trust, and it'll take time to repair it.
You doubted it before the baby was even born, but you tried to stay around, and now as you look at these children as they change, you start saying these features attribute to someone else instead of you. Does he say this out loud?
Yes, he tells them to their face.
With all the fighting between Richard and Lily, it seems like it started to take a toll on the children as well. They even fought in front of them, and it made the 2 little boys worried for their parents. But there's one pretty clear thing here. Lily created all of this mess, and now she can't even admit her wrongdoings.
Both of you all know how to push the other one's button and know how to manipulate the other one to get what you want. I mean, this is just painfully clear to me. Because you all playing games up in here. Because you so consumed with doubt that you are downgrading and talking about children in their face, but you still laid up with their mother.
So, what's the solution to all of this? It's so evident that these 2 won't stop fighting, and after what Lily did to Richard and all the pain she's put him through, the only thing that'll bring Richard comfort is knowing who's the real father of these 2 boys. And the only way to know that is to get to the results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hernandez, you are his father. So you are the legal father and the biological father of both boys.
So can you step up now?
I can.
Get ready for a brutal fight on paternity court. In the case of Wandick versus Stampley, tensions soar as Miss Wandick sues for $79.40, claiming the defendant took back baby clothing in a fit of rage and demands a paternity test for her 15-month-old daughter. Mr. Stampley countersues for $410, doubting his fatherhood.
Your Honor, Mr. Stampley brought over baby clothes to my sister's house, and we had got into an argument, and then he threw all the baby clothes to the neighbor's house. And why would he do that when he bought the clothes for the baby? Not me, but for the baby. It was a gift for the baby, not me.
As the courtroom drama unfolds, Mr. Stampley admits to suing for $410, claiming he organized a baby shower for Miss Wandick, believing she carried his child. However, doubts about fatherhood only arose later. He maintains that he was tricked and sweet-talked into the baby shower, compelled by her touching story of never having one before.
I was suckered and sweet-talked into this baby shower.
In what way?
She told me that she has never had a baby shower. So I felt it was only right that I do something nice for her and the baby and throw a nice baby shower. I did everything. She didn't have to do nothing but just appear.
Well, you thought you were having a baby.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mr. Stampley insists they were in a relationship, but not from the start. Miss Wandick vehemently denies it, stating he pursued her, hoping for a boy to add to his family. The tension escalates as both parties share conflicting accounts, leaving the audience to uncover what lies beneath the surface of this complex relationship drama.
We had got into an argument, and then he threw all the baby clothes to the neighbor's house, and why would he do that when he bought the clothes for the baby? Not me, but for the baby. It was a gift for the baby, not me. So, Your Honor, that's why I'm suing.
And so,
Miss Wandick admits to cheating, causing doubts and pain in their relationship. She bravely confesses her actions after an intimate encounter at a friend's house, revealing she was already pregnant. Amidst the chaos, the audience can't help but wonder how this revelation will impact the brutal fight in paternity court and the tangled fate of these two souls.
I did, Your Honor. I admitted that I cheated on him. Like he said, we was at his friend's house. We got done having sex, and then after we got done having sex, I felt bad, and then that's when I confessed it. At least I was woman enough to tell you I was already pregnant, because I was already pregnant the second time when he went to jail.
Mr. Stampley firmly believes the cheating might have led to the pregnancy, leaving room for someone else to be the biological father. A shocking revelation emerges as a family member claims Miss Wandick was involved in multiple affairs while he was in jail. The anticipation rises as a key witness, Ms. Shea Baker, steps forward to shed light on the truth.
You don't think she was pregnant already?
No.
You think the cheating is very well what could have led to the pregnancy?
Correct.
Meaning somebody else could be the child's biological father.
It was just one other person, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I got a family member that even told me that she was doing a bunch of cheating while I was in jail.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do.
A brutal fight took place. Ms. Shea Baker courageously reveals her motive for sharing the information with Mr. Stampley. She understands the pain of growing up without parents. She firmly believes Miss Wandick cheated during the window of conception, which could change everything.
What made you decide to tell Mr. Stampley?
I feel like he needed to know because me and both my sisters, we grew up without parents in our home. So I felt like it was my place so that my niece should know if he is the dad or not.
Do you believe she cheated during the window of conception?
Yes, ma'am.
In a thrilling moment, Judge Lake delivers her verdict. With unwavering certainty, she declares Mr. Stampley as Nehemiah's biological father. Her fears and doubts fade away. Despite Miss Wandick's anger, the truth is crystal clear, highlighting her choice's consequences. The courtroom is filled with mixed emotions, as closure is finally reached in this riveting paternity battle.
Mr. Stampley, you are her father. Your fears and your doubts have been put to rest.
Yes, Your Honor.
I know you are angry because you feel like they were, speaking negatively about you.
Miss Hendricks reveals the destruction of her relationship with Mr. Pacheco, caused by doubts about her son Isaiah's paternity. Mr. Pacheco overheard a conversation about another man claiming to be the baby's father. He even moved out, demanding DNA results.
Well, he's listening to rumors that an ex-boyfriend is possibly the father of our son. The rumors are coming from my brother. We met about 2 years ago. We met online. About 3 months after talking online, we met in person. We moved in together within like 4 months of meeting each other.
Mr. Pacheco recounts the devastating moment when someone claimed Isaiah is the mailman's baby, leading to anger and frustration. He's hurt by Miss Hendricks' ex still being in the picture, even talking to her from jail. Miss Hendricks explains how she cut ties with her ex after getting together with Mr. Pacheco. Yet, rumors emerge, creating chaos and doubt.
Her family member came and said, "Oh, that's the mailman's baby." My reaction when they said that, I was mad. I walked out, I didn't know what to do. And then an ex out there, whatever time it was, for him to say, "Oh, that's my son, I love him, I can't wait to see him. When I get out of jail, I want to just keep in contact with you." That's what really hurt me the most.
Judge Lake cautions Miss Hendricks about the irreversible impact of her words when angry. She emphasizes the consequences of doubting Isaiah's paternity. Miss Hendricks admits her mistake, but Mr. Pacheco reveals trying to sign the birth certificate. Despite his efforts, Isaiah's name is Hendricks, not Pacheco. The courtroom is on edge, awaiting the final revelation in this gripping paternity battle.
I tried to sign the birth certificate. If you see, his name is Isaiah Hendricks, not Isaiah Pacheco.
I cannot make him Pacheco if you wasn't there.
But every time I called you and I told you for us to make an appointment, you didn't want to do it. You always had excuses for everything.
It's like a process.
You had
it's not something I could just call and be like, oh, I want to change his name.
Look how.
So, Mr. Pacheco, let me understand this.
The tension in the courtroom reaches its peak. A family member reveals witnessing another man hanging around during Miss Hendricks and Mr. Pacheco's early days together, causing suspicions. She acknowledges that Mr. Pacheco's doubts stem from the ex's appearance afterward. The courtroom buzzes as revelations continue to unravel in this gripping paternity court battle.
But that was different times, like totally different times. He came after that, the ex. He came after.
You had them
both. They was
time. It was together.
No, it was not. It was totally different times.
So wrong.
And even if it wasn't, you're my brother.
In an electrifying moment, Judge Lake reveals the truth. Mr. Pacheco is Isaiah's father. The courtroom erupts with joy. Judge Lake emphasizes the importance of using this truth to rebuild trust and create a stronger foundation. Amidst the difficulties, they have the opportunity to raise baby Isaiah well, regardless of their relationship status.
The question is, will you use that truth as a building block to create a better foundation? This was very difficult, but you've made it through, you got the truth, and now it's time to figure out what you want to do for baby Isaiah's sake. And if you don't want to be together, that's fine. Just raise him and raise him well.